There's about 3 seconds of difference between... See, this is the difficulty in not having a camera. Because I can't line up the audio. Maybe I'll just flick it on to line up the audio. No, I don't have any. I think I'll just say like 3 seconds. Take out 3 seconds from the audio to make it line up. Yeah, from the start of the audio, I'll write down 3 seconds. Hold on a second. Do that. Alright, now we're going over to Duel Links. Hello and welcome to another video of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. This time we'll be doing Triamids. It's a deck that I'm sure a lot of people are already familiar with. But I picked it up on my way to getting the magnet cards, so I figured why not just give it a whirl. It ended up being quite nice. This build I go 1 Sphinx, 2 Master, 3 Hunter, and 2 Dancer. 3 Cruiser, 3 King Golem, and 1 Fortress, 3 Pulse, and 3 Power Sync Stone, running balance. Extra deck is what it is. The only important things I would say is Sin and Alucard. The rest just put in whatever you have. In case you don't know much about Triamids, they're very field spell based. They have an effect on the field and an effect when they get sent to the graveyard. This one's graveyard effect is you can search for a Triamid monster, is it? Add 1 Triamid monster from your deck to your hand. When this gets sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Triamid monster from your hand. When this gets sent to the graveyard, you can take a Triamid monster from your graveyard and add it to your hand. Their on-field effect, this one, while it's on the field, Triamid monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects. This one is they gain a boost, and opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated when a Triamid monster battles. And this, you gain 500 life points when a Triamid monster is summoned, and then you can draw a card and discard a card. Then you have Pulse, which has 3 effects that you can trigger when you banish 2 cards from your graveyard that are rock monsters or field spell cards. And those 3 effects are target 1 card in the field, destroy it, so it's a pop. It's a special summon a rock type monster from your graveyard, or it's a target 3 field spells in your graveyard, shuffle them, and then draw 1 card. Which you can only do if you have 5 in your graveyard. I have never used this effect. I've used the second one once. I use the first one all the time. Sphinx can special summon itself from your hand when a Triamid monster is destroyed on the field. Triamid Master can send a field spell card from your field spell zone to the graveyard to target 1 set card on the field and destroy it. No, it's 1 face-up Triamid card you control. So it can be other monsters, it can be your field spell, target 1 set card, destroy it. And if you do, activate 1 Triamid field spell card from your deck with a different name. Oh yeah, that's the common effect. So during your opponent's turn, any of these cards can target the field spell card in your field spell zone, as long as it's a Triamid, and then swap it for something else in your deck, another Triamid field spell. They all have that effect. This lets you normal summon an extra monster during your main phase, and this can shuffle back a Triamid card in your graveyard back into the deck and gain 500 for every rock monster you control. So, give 500 boost to all rock monsters you have. Not per, okay. And lastly, Power Sync Stone. Each time a monster effect is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card, max 2. While it has 2 spell counters, face on monsters on the field cannot activate their effects. and the effects are negated. During the end phase, move spell counters. Spell counters on this card. So that comes into play with Hunter and any other, like Hunter and Dancer, Hunter and Master. During your turn, you'll play them both. You'll set Power Sync if you have it. And then during, their standby, you'll quickly activate both of these effects to swap out the field spells. And you've activated one effect, one counter, two effects, another counter, and then before they even do anything, any monster effects are going to be negated. So it can really hinder certain decks. It can really shut them down. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Other than that, I think we're good. It's all pretty self-explanatory. Triamids, I'm sure, are a deck that everyone already knows about. I have some replays. I have the replays. I just right-clicked. Let's see if we can actually get there. Okay, let's have a look at this one. So I am going to show off some wins, and I think I also saved some losses because I like to show off the strengths and the weaknesses of decks. So let's see how we go here. Coin flip, go first. Going first is ideal because we like to set up our plays and our interruptions. Playing through interruptions is a bit more difficult. So right off the bat, we know that if we whip a cruiser or Triamid monster, we're in good shape. But we're going first, so we don't draw a card. So an unideal opener for sure. And the reason I do this is it's a waste of a fortress for sure. But I know that when Triamid Hunter will be able to activate its effect during my opponent's turn, and then I will have two field spells in the graveyard to make Pulse live, because you need to banish two from your graveyard to activate the effect. So it's a waste of a field spell, wasting my resources, but I kind of had to because it was a very unideal opener. And I wanted that pop to be live. So I go for it. I bring Cruiser on the field because if I whip a field spell, I can put it over the top of the Cruiser and search a card. I pop the Planeteer so it's not live during the end phase, so it doesn't get that effect. I do whip another field spell. I get the King Golem, put it over the Fortress, get a search, go for Master. And King Golem shuts off effects as they attack. And just Hunter and Master with King Golem on the field is enough for lethal swing. The game would have gone very differently if I played conservative and didn't make my pulse live, so I do think that was the right play. Sometimes you just need that fuel in the graveyard. But anyway, nothing too special in that duel. Hopefully we get some more spicy matches. I'm pretty sure I'll save some spicy ones. So they were on a 4-win streak. And what do we got? Evil Eye. Oh, I remember this game. Yeah, Evil Eye. So thankfully we open Hunter and a field spell with Pulse Live. That's pretty good. Now that we have two monsters, we know that they'll both be able to activate their effects, get two field spells in the grave to make Pulse live. We swing, King Golem shuts off effects, but the effect to make it not be destroyed by battle, which I think this gives it, is a passive one and not one that activates, so that still applies. Nobleman Extermination, I chain because it only removes some player face down. So as long as I chain it, it stays. Here goes Medusa. I start switching out. So during your opponent's turn, you can go whatever field spell, swap it out, go Cruiser, swap it out again. Get the search for your one of Sphinx. So I'm protected from being popped, and if he destroys one of the monsters by battle, I get to summon Sphinx. Also, I make the Pulse live. I take out the Reducer. He gets huge. He gets super huge, which was kind of scary, but I'm pretty sure Sphinx wouldn't be able to get over that. One thing I will say is I think Triamid games are sort of decided in your first two turns. Especially if you're wanting balance, because you kind of play out your hand on your first turn, if that makes sense. And so there's not very much. I say there's not very much. I would say there's pretty much no follow up turns. Like you play out your hand, you try and set things up, but if it doesn't work, Triamids don't have like that one like Pog top deck card that can try to get you back into Duel. It's like if you open well, if you have a good opening couple of turns, you can kind of ride that out and win. But if your board gets broken, you lose, if that makes sense. In my opinion, there's not a lot of follow up. So this is a pretty bad hand. We can't do the thing we did last time with Pulse because we have Power 6-7 instead of Pulse. The one thing we can do is shut off effects because I'll be able to activate an effect. The Marin activates an effect that gets one counter. So before the Lumina can activate its effect, I'm going to activate mine, get the second counter. Now it can't discard the special summon from the grave. But in the end phase, it does because that's a passive effect. Not an activated one. Now, I can't activate my effects, which is a bit unfortunate. Not that I need to. I get to clearing his board. So I guess the thing with Pulse is each time a monster effect is activated. I don't think that's strictly true. It's each time a monster effect occurs, if that makes sense. Because it got so the end phase occurred and the spell counters were removed, but it got 2 on it again immediately because the Luminous effect activated and then the wolf got summoned from the graveyard. And they're not activated effects, they're just things that happen. They're just effects that occur, they're not really activated. So, it's not strictly true because passive effects still give counters, but it's just like when an monster effect occurs, it gets a counter on it, and it can stop activated effects. That's sort of my interpretation. I don't think the first line is strictly accurate because those effects didn't activate. Well, it depends on your definition of activate, I guess. Now, during the draw phase, I get my 2 counters before we can activate anything. I figure he could definitely have Leveneer by this point, so I wanted Fortress. Raiden. Judgment Dragon. Thankfully, the pay of 1,000 isn't going to apply. Oh, yes, I remember. Okay, yeah. Let me talk about that. So, I special summoned my my Sphinx in attack, and that lost me the duel. Because what I didn't realize is it's only 2,500, and if all monster effects on the field are being negated, it's not going to have any boost. But this is passive. So if I had just put it in defense, 2,500 defense plus the 500, it's 3k. it completely walls him off. I'd completely forgot that I wouldn't get the boost, and so if I put it in defense, it walls him. He can't get over my monster. He destroys everything else. Doesn't matter. Next turn, basically I just stall him out. There's not much you can do. I will need. I will need to keep these negated. I will need to keep trying to deal with these, but I feel like it was winnable if I just put that in defense. I would have survived. Well, I would have kept the monster on the field. Basically, the takeaway is just no. I definitely would have won because he's gonna deck out. The plan would have been you have a monster survived thanks to the fortress and 2500 defense. He has Marin, but he's going to draw it. So I need to survive this turn and one more turn, a couple of turns, which I think was doable with what I had. I think it was definitely doable, but at this point, I just resigned to my fate. But the point is, like, this was one of my few losses early on, and I still think that it was like super, super winnable, super winnable. I think we're up to Taurus now. But yeah, the point is, like, when you summon Sphinx, if you summon Sphinx with Passing Stone, be aware of what the monsters they have on the field are or what they could summon. Know that you're not going to get the boost because Passing Stone is going to negate your boost as well. See, if you have King Golem on the field, you probably want to go attack anyway because the attack will be higher than the defense. But if you have Fortress, you want to go defense because the defense will be higher than the attack. Excuse me. This is almost the same opening hand because we have two field spells, Hunter and Passing Stone. I think that's the exact same hand as the Lightsworn matchup. This is the Lightsworn matchup. that would explain it. All right, so Taurus is the Lightsworn matchup. Let's move on here. Now it seems that we have Hunter, Dancer, and Field Spell, so not terrible. Up against Blue Eyes. Which is going to get two Blue Eyes out. Now, the fusion is an issue. And so we really desperately want to get rid of one of these Blue Eyes. He has a set card. If it's Karma Cut, we are in trouble. It doesn't seem to be. But we do have a Pop live. So as soon as he summons it, which we kind of expect, we're going to activate our effects. Get the search for Sphinx. Sort of have our toggle on for this. Just to get all the effects off. Search for Sphinx. Get the Pop live. Get popping. Get out of here. Granted, if he has a third Blue Eyes in hand, that's a problem. He comes on out. Maiden. King Golem. Shuts Maiden off completely. We go King Golem over King Golem to activate its effect to special summon our Sphinx. Shuffle back. Gain 500 on all our rock monsters. Passing Stone is also set. And I don't think he knew that King Golem would shut off the Maiden. To be honest. But we pick up a strong W versus Blue Eyes. And this is against Gong Strong. I was on a win streak and a rank up duel. I wonder what I was versing here. So I think this is one of the duels where we didn't open Hunter, which is an unideal start. Yeah, super unideal opener. No Pulse, no Hunter. Oh, yes, it was. It was super heavies. This was kind of spicy. This was spicy. Okay. So, super unideal opener, but we do have the Parasig Stone up. We do manage to special summon off of King Golem, get that dancer on the field, straight to defense. Ben K comes on the field, and he gets a search. Soul Horns. He has the nuts, by the way. He has 2 Soul Shield Roll and Horns. This would have been an instant loss. However, Monster's effects on the field are negated. Even though he's in defense, he cannot attack in defense. He's being negated with the passing stone. And so long as I have 2 monsters on the field, I can keep his effect being negated. Dancer shuffle back. Hunter on the field. I should have hunted first, for sure. I guess I wanted to keep the space open. So in that duel, we would have... I think it was a connection fail, but we had him. I think we had him. We can always just shut off the effect to be able to attack in defense. And we can just keep building up our attack. Keep building and building and building. And it's 6,300, but we can also play the deck out game. As long as you have a dancer on the field, you can keep shuffling back your field spells to never deck out. It's I'm pretty sure it's an infinite. Anyway, moving on to the next duel. Nemesis, Kite Tenjo. Cruiser. Fortress over Cruiser, get the search for a second monster, go for Master. Next turn, we'll be able to set up a Live Pulse, get a search for Sphinx. Pretty good opener here. Not super ideal. Ideally, this would be King Golem, but still pretty good. He managed to search for Galaxy. This is where I made my first misplay, because unlike the other card, the Nobleman card, this targets a set spell and trap and destroys it regardless of whether you chain to flip it face up. But you can't activate effects in response to skills, and his skill is what searched for it. So even though I saw that that's what he was adding, I couldn't activate my effects to flip it face up in time. That just comes down to seeing Kite, knowing the matchup, knowing they with a skill they can add the Galaxy, and flipping it up early. I definitely learned my lesson here. And at this point, I'm like, I'm really in trouble. I'm seriously in trouble. The only thing I can really do is get Sphinx. But if he has 2 quick... He can only have 1 quick play. So thankfully, one of my monsters will have to get destroyed. And so I will be able to summon Sphinx if he decides to go there. He goes for the big damage. Sphinx does get put on the field. I whip into Master. I manage to shout off effects. And thankfully, I managed to break his board. Galaxy Eyes, another deck that doesn't really have a lot of comeback potential. It's just another deck where you play out your hand, you put everything on the board, and then you win or you lose. Now, there's another replay here. I'm not sure if this is Triamids, though. I think it could be, though. When you gain a rank, another rank up, a 3-win streak. Another blue-eyed smutcher. Yeah, this is Triamids. Another maiden pass. But without King Golem, kind of rough. So, not a great opener. But we were able to swap and get King Golem on the field during their turn. Thank you very much. And with Double Master, it's pretty powerful. Parasync Stone set as well. Opt not to take out the very clear White Stone. And it was another connection fail, which I'm convinced is just surrenders. Okay. But yeah, King Golem, pretty solid at being able to show off effects. Can definitely come in handy in a lot of different situations. But that's the deck. I had a lot of fun with it, to be honest. It's cheap. I just picked it up on my way to Magnets, as I mentioned. 2 SRs. I mean, I guess you could almost... Maybe you could even just run it like this. Maybe because you only want to go through the box once. And once there, or you pick it up with an SR ticket if you so choose. I would say, yeah, but I would say 3 cruiser was necessary. So it's cheap in the sense that you just go through a mini box to get it. You could just go through twice and run it like that. And then if you want to keep investing in Triamids, go for that 3rd round, get the 3rd, get the 3rd master, get the 3rd cruiser. This is just a card trader card, and this is a rare. Where did I get this one? Just card tickets. Yeah, so card trader card tickets. Where's the normals? Where's the normals? Some supers. Get as many of them as you can, and then Sphinx is in a different box. But I still say, for how viable it can be, it's a pretty good pickup. Arena of Sanctuary. Yes, just keep it as is. And is this a decent box to go in anyway? You can pick up a Valkyries. You can pick up Karma Cut, which is a really good staple. So I don't think it's the end of the world if you do go into this box to pick up Sphinx, because there are some other good cards in here. Yeah. Well, that'll do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.